From the late 1970s to early 1980s, the city of Pripyat was thriving. Located in far northern Ukraine, which back then was occupied by the Soviets, Pripyat was an atomgrad, meaning that its sole purpose was to house the workers to build and operate a nuclear power plant. The Chernobyl nuclear power station consisted of 4 RBMK-1000 nuclear reactors, and another 2 were under construction. This could have been the world's most powerful nuclear plant. The newly completed Reactor 4 at Chernobyl was undergoing tests in the middle of the night. But a power surge, born from poor reactor design, triggered an emergency shutdown, which did not work. Control rods, which are often used to regulate the power of the reactor, were inserted too late, and they cracked and fractured from the extreme heat which was already building up in the reactor core. This shutdown also ended in failure. Reactor temperatures got cooler, then hotter, then much hotter. Reactor 4 exploded at 1:23 a.m. and 45 seconds because too much steam inside it was building up and increasing the pressure. As more water seeped into the melting core, it evaporated and turned to steam, destroying the entire reactor room and spreading fires throughout. Thousands of tons of concrete, nuclear fuel, and superheated graphite were scattered on the roof. The radiation was so ionizing that it visibly illuminated the air in the sky. The local firefighters were sent over to deal with the situation. 134 were hospitalized with acute radiation poisoning. 28 of them died. Unfortunately, the graphite and nuclear fuel were still on the rooftop of the building, so thousands of radiation workers, or liquidators, were hired to clean up the roof and get rid of the graphite. After all, radiation levels were getting so high that the population of Pripyat was evacuated, and numerous vehicles such as helicopters and trucks spread a special liquid to help absorb radioactive particles. There were over 1,800 helicopter flights, not only to absorb radiation, but also to put out the fires inside the reactor core by dropping water and sand. But when clearing even more debris for a newer, safer confinement in 2017, engineers stumbled upon this bizarre piece of wreckage. It was the tail rotor of an Mi-26, which unfortunately hit a large crane when carrying supplies for the construction of a structure called the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus was a hastily built structure that began construction in May 1986. Formerly known as the shelter structure, it was designed to confine the release of radioactive materials from Reactor 4. When completed in November of that year, the liquidators made it into the basement of Reactor 4. By December of that year, they've managed to pathfind a tunnel to the bottom of the reactor. There, when they turned a corner into a steamed corridor, they found one of the most radioactive substances on Earth. Named the elephant's foot, this was a mixture of nuclear fuel, concrete, steel, and control rods, known as a substance called corium. It was so radioactive that it could give someone nearby a lethal dose of radiation in 200 seconds. What you're seeing here is extremely valuable footage of the elephant's foot taken in 1996. The white spots you see popping in and out of the screen isn't the bad camera quality. In reality, it's the radiation from the elephant's foot interfering with the lens and the camera. Luckily, by the time this video was taken, the elephant's foot was 10 times less radioactive, allowing a little bit more time for the scientists to analyze it. Despite the high radiation levels, Chernobyl is highly inhabited with a population of wild dogs. Today there is also a permanent structure around the sarcophagus called the new safe confinement, which meant that the older iconic chimney needed to be knocked down with a much smaller one to allow it to fit. In 2016, it was finally complete and inserted over the sarcophagus. This structure will also slowly demolish the sarcophagus in order to access the radioactive materials in the core and hopefully be able to clear them. Today, radiation levels are much lower than they ever were, and hopefully they will remain so. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comments section below. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.